I really had hit rock bottom. You know, my drug use. Nowadays they're mixing fentanyl in with just about everything, and it was really bad. You know, I decided to go ahead and get some help because I knew if I stayed out there in the streets that, I was really, it was a crapshoot that I could, one day I can just not be there.
Basically spent the last 2 decades in and out of prison, maybe like 17 years. It's just a pattern. Go to prison, get out, get high, get in trouble, go to prison.
Before I came here, I had just got out of prison like 3 months before I had came here. I went to prison for repeated DUIs, and then once I came home, I started to drink again and revert back to my old ways. I didn't care. I wanted to use, so I would use. It didn't matter.
Didn't make a lot of friends because we moved all the time. As I grew up, my dad went to work he had retired from the military and went to work for Budweiser. Never really had friends until then. Then I discovered how to get into my dad's shed that was full of Budweiser, and I had Dave, Budweiser, and plenty of friends. And I liked that. And it started an addiction when I was 16. It didn't turn out well. I have multiple issues with the law. I went to construction business and settled down and got married and had 2 children. But when she developed cancer and passed away, I developed, the drinking started, pain pills started, and I ended up going to jail for some time over a bunch of DUIs.
Before I got here, I was just wrapped up so deep in drugs, heroin, cocaine, crack, alcohol, everything you can imagine. I spent already 1/3 of my life in prison, got caught with some drugs again this time, and I was on my knees and I was praying to God. And I've prayed in the past, but I never believed in the prayers. It was just foxhole prayers. This time, and all I asked was to help me find a different way to live. Within that week, I went and saw the judge, and he was like, "You're going to Rockford Rescue Mission."
Drugs and alcohol was killing people at an alarming rate, especially the opioids. And I had a friend since I've been here, a couple of people that I know who have died due to their addiction. But for the grace of God, there go I. And it's no joke. This stuff is killing people, and it's just a no-win situation with drugs and alcohol.
Oh, a guy across the street, he goes, "Have you had enough, Dave? Come on, man, I'm watching you kill yourself here. You do it day after day after day. You have to drink just to feel normal." And that's pathetic. And he, after my 60th birthday, he came over and I put my stuff, my belongings in his trunk, and he dropped me off right back here. There was a sign outside the door at the Men's Crisis Center. If you don't have a friend in the world, you can find one here. And that rang true.
God seemed fit to give me another chance, so I decided to call the phone number, and then I ended up getting checked in, and it was a pretty good deal for me.
I'm gonna be honest, in the beginning I didn't want to be here, and I made it through every day by telling myself, tomorrow I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go use. So even like getting into drug court, my mindset was, if I can get into drug court, that's that much longer that I have to still get high. I never planned to finish it. Like, there's no way, in my brain I could never complete anything, much less get sober. And that was my view getting here too. All right, I postponed going back to prison a little longer. And all of a sudden I was doing it. I'm like, a year in, I'm sober. And I'm like, I'm not faking it to make it anymore, I'm making it. When I got here, I was closed off. I distrusted people. Coming from my world, everybody has an angle. I learned here people don't have an angle. Their angle is like they shower you with love, like Jesus would.
I arrived here in shackles, around my ankles, around my waist, hands. They let me out in crisis. I came upstairs and got put in quarantine for 10 days, and they gave me a Bible. And I've never read the Bible in my life. Started reading it in the Gospels, and it was around that time, those couple days I was in quarantine, that I asked Jesus into my heart. And it was like then that I knew that that was the answer to my prayer.
I asked a staff member to help me pray with me to accept Jesus in my life. And then once I did that, things started changing for me. I had a relationship with him.
I know it started with God, like, of course, but this mission introduced me to God. This place is a huge part of my story as well, and everybody here.
I knew God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself, but he also threw a lifeline with this program.
The program's a long program. You have to dig into all your root issues, and some aren't willing to do that. And I was not either at first, but I am now.
I learned things about me that I didn't know that bothered me. Now I know that they did, so I was able to work through them and have a better understanding of myself and able to have people be in my life that I normally would just be by myself, and now I've made friends here.
I have a great Genesis coach in Andre. I was using drugs and alcohol that was just to cover up what was really going on. I was able to, get to the crux of my problem.
My first Thanksgiving here, we all got together, men's life recovery and women's life recovery, did our own Thanksgiving meal, and everybody was going around saying what they're thankful for. And I don't know, I could just feel God's presence working in the lives of all these people that have hurts like me. So I started to pay a little bit more attention, and as time went on, I worked my way to Genesis and had Pam as my coach. She's thorough. I've learned while I was here, I've learned more about God's grace rather than fire and brimstone. Through seeing people here love each other, that's God, love. So that's helped me become a better person where, some of the guys will ask me, how do you do this in Genesis? Or maybe, can you help me with this? And I give them some advice, and then I think to myself, I can't believe people are asking me for advice.
I started letting a lot of my past go. I actually started to feel freedom inside, not just freedom from the handcuffs. It was like complete freedom, and I still feel that today.
I look forward to getting my GED. I would like to get a place, get a job.
There's a lot of troubled kids, and I've been there in my past, and I tell my story to them.
For 8 months, I've worked down in the Men's Crisis Center. And I enjoy the job so much because when I see these guys come in and I do their intake, I don't see them. I see me. When I came in, I'm looking in a mirror.
Started cutting hair like here and there, dibble-dabbling while I was in prison. And, cut somebody's hair for like 2 ramen noodles or something. Or a honey bun. You can keep that on there too. And then when I came here, it was more about just helping other people out, like with haircuts. You're down in the dumps, and physically and emotionally you're torn up, spiritually, but it's amazing what a hot meal, clean clothes, a fresh haircut and shave will do for a person, boosting their self-esteem. I'll be finishing school around November, and I am planning on going back to school after that to be a barber instructor.
I have a relationship with God, which I did when I was growing up too. So it's kind of just like coming back home, So my family, my parents they're gonna be mad at me, elderly, and living in Florida, but they're actually, 43 years old and they're finally proud of me. And that feels good.
God gave me this opportunity to be to come through the mission and then go to the recovery part, and to be able to see a little bit more about myself, and to be able to know that with God all things are possible.